In this video, we are going to be exploring speed. So speed is a special type of rate where you are calculating the rate of change in position. So for example, you're starting at point A. How long does it take you to get to point B? Your speed is then calculated by taking that distance and dividing it by the amount of time it takes you to get there. All right, so when you're talking about speed, there's actually a couple ways that you measure it. First, you have your instantaneous speed, meaning that is the speed that you are going at one specific moment in time. How fast are you going right now? Versus your average speed, which is then calculated the way I just described, where you are taking the entire distance and you're dividing it by the time that it takes you. So the average speed is what you're most often calculating when you're using these speed formulas. Okay, so check out this triangle over here. This is a nice little handy dandy tool to help you keep track of or how you calculate speed, distance, and time. So you set it up where distance is at the top and then you have speed and time over here down the bottom. So let's say you want to figure out the speed of something. You know the distance, you know the time, and you want to figure out the speed. So you then, the way that it's set up here, you know that you need to do distance divided by time because you have d fraction bar t, d over t. But what if your unknown were something else? What if you knew instead the distance and time? What if you knew the distance and the speed? You could calculate the time. So the unknown, so time is then distance divided by speed. Again, using this same visual setup, distance divided by speed. So I could take the distance that's traveled divided by the speed, and you're going to pop out with the time. And then the last unknown, what if you wanted to calculate the distance of something and you knew the speed at which the person or the thing was going, you knew the amount of time it took you to get there, that could then calculate the distance. So you could then see how these are next to each other, then it's speed times time. So you do speed multiplied by time, and that's going to give you the distance. Okay, so let's look at an example. So let's say you have a runner and they're running a 100-meter dash, right? So that's the straightaway on a track, and it takes that runner 20 seconds. So 100 meters, and it takes them 20 seconds. And we want to know how fast was the runner traveling? What is the speed? Okay, so that's the unknown. So if the unknown is the speed, I'm going to use my little formula here. Speed equals distance over time. So I'm going to write that here. Speed equals distance over time. You also could write it as speed equals distance divided by time, if that's easier for how you do it. Okay, so our distance, it's 100 meters. So I'm going to now plug that in. Speed equals 100 meters divided by time. It took them 20 seconds. 20 seconds. And so now I can solve for S, or my speed. Speed equals, all right, 5. Now, I have to think, 5 what? What am I talking about? This is a rate. So I need to make sure that I use both of those units. That means 5 M for meters, S for seconds. So that means that person's traveling 5 meters per second. That is their rate of motion. The rate of motion. All right, let's go ahead and look at a few more practice examples.